Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free video I'm going to take you through what we have coming up next week. In fact, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are some of the busiest central bank events that we're going to have probably for a couple weeks. In fact, it's a pretty stacked couple of weeks. Now, does this put currencies in play? You bet. Are there ways you can play currencies on the futures side as well as the ETF side as well as the Forex side? Absolutely. But what is the primary play that I'm going to have my eye on? It's going to be Fed Chair Yellen. It's going to be this event we have coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. So that's the focus. Now, what's in play with Yellen? US dollar, euro, the risk environment, so the Japanese yen. We're going to have the S&P in play. We're going to have the Dow in play. So there's a number of things, as well as the 30-year. So there's a number of symbols that we're going to have in play with this event. So let's go ahead and start to scan what it is that we have coming up. So what I'll do typically is I'll start with the largest market in the largest market, and that is the euro. So notice where we are in the euro right now. Now we have bought off the 1135 level twice before. I'm ready to do it again, but I also want to acknowledge that when we get to about the 1200 level, we run into a boatload of resistance. So here's that 112 level that is currently keeping prices from accelerating higher. And this is the kind of thing you want to pay attention to. Don't be stubborn. If the market is exhausting here, it doesn't mean you have to get flat. It should not prevent you from getting long. This should simply be a potential profit target, preferably maybe even your first. So this could be a first profit target. And that means we've already had the opportunity to take something off the table after about a 65 pip winner, and then we wait for the entry to refire. Could we have a refire tomorrow? Well, it depends on what it is that Yellen says and the way in which the market responds to it. Take a look at the dollar. This is just a little bit of the US dollars. I would call it a last gasp. It doesn't look all that different from the last time that we came up and flirted with the wave for about 4 sessions. This time we hung out for a little bit longer, but it's the same idea. Do I think we're going to head down to lower lows? Absolutely. When? When will we head down to lower lows? Well, expectations for FOMC rate hikes are probably about as minimal as they've been. We're probably looking at maybe one more hike, maybe 2. But we're kind of just sort of aligning to the fact that we may see only one more hike out of the FOMC. I'm not sure that we won't see another hike from them September and maybe another in December. I won't take that off the table, but I think traders are pretty much aligning to one more rate hike this year. So if the US dollar cannot find its way to higher highs in any consistent way while plotting green grab candles, gang, what the heck is going to keep the dollar up in this area? Nothing more than maybe a delay or concern about when the euro is going to rally on the ECB taper. Now, Draghi keeps playing some games. We're interested in taper, which is a very different conversation than the next rate hike. I don't care when the next rate hike is. It's really right now about the taper, because first comes taper, second comes the hawkishness. Is taper in and of itself somewhat hawkish? It is, but the precursor to higher rates will be tapering the asset purchases. So when Draghi says he's not in no rush to raise rates, he's telling the truth. What we really want to find out is, when are the asset purchases going to be reduced without extending the program out? The fact that the euro is able to maintain support while all this concern or confusion is running amok, in other words, staying above the 34 EMA, bodes very well for higher highs, which is why I'm keen on buying these pullbacks. And which is why, if Janet Yellen rallies the US dollar on whatever it is she's going to say tomorrow, as you can see at this British Academy President's Lecture in London, this is where things get interesting. The audience questions. So if traders are not impressed with what she says and the dollar sinks, the euro will rally. If the dollar is able to rally, heads up for another opportunity to buy a test of the 111 handle in the euro. Now, where else can you play this out? You can play this out on ECU futures on a pullback, as you can see here. Now, I would be very interested in a pullback to the bottom line of the Darvis or the 112 handle. So you can basically look for an opportunity to get long between, say, 112.05 or even the 111.80 area, the middle line of the wave, and just consider the Darvis support to be a really nice conservative level to get long off of. All right, where else can you play this out? FXE. Now, I would prefer you go ECU before you go FXE, but they are both valid. All right. The problem with FXE is you're limited to the trading hours between 9:30 and 4 for any real liquidity. ECU is going to give you a better look at what could be opportunities apart from that. Not as good or as liquid as the Forex, but the futures will give you a very good secondary choice. I think it's a solid second choice. All right, so that's tonight's premium video. That's what's on the schedule for tomorrow. That is going to be FOMC, well, not FOMC, but Fed Chair, FOMC Fed Chair Yellen, and we also have Harker speaking tomorrow, which could be interesting. Harker is one of the more hawkish members. So between Draghi speaking earlier in the day and FOMC Yellen speaking later in the day, it's going to be a very busy Fed speak kind of day. And then take a look on the calendar too. Probably the most dovish Fed member, which is Kashkari, will be coming in at 5:30. So know your Fed speakers, know what they usually sound like. Harker's a hawk, Yellen's a dove, and Kashkari is the dove of doves. And that's what we got affecting the market psychology going into Tuesday the 27th.